So, despite my total distaste for Ruby, yeah, you guys like to see me talk about Ruby, but I thought it'd be kind of fun to deviate from the past two videos I did about Ruby, where I was just in utter rage mode for a good, rounded out to a good 20 minutes. But today I'm going to be doing something a little more interesting. I was just kind of thinking the other day, just this random, not so much a fight idea, but would it be more like if one side encountered the other? And who knows, maybe this will be in a new segment, depending on if I don't get frickin' swamped with people. Instead of talking about the idea, they throw out random fight ideas. You guys already know, I already hate that, so this will determine if I want to do it as a video or not. If I see like a bunch of request videos, not trying to sound like a jerk, but if I see like a bunch of requests for other videos like this, then I'm just gonna be like, I'm not gonna do it. Because that just happens, like, oh, we'll just do requests instead of talking about the actual video in front of us. That's what turns me off from doing, like, fight videos or other kind of topic videos, because then I just get all these requests instead of people, like, talking about the thing I put out there. So, yeah. So, let's see how this goes. Anyway, so this was just a fun idea that randomly came to me, and that is basically, what if the Galactic Empire got into a war with the Grimm from Ruby? So, yeah, the Galactic Empire from Star Wars, and what would it be like if they fought the Grimm? Now, you're already thinking right off the bat, oh, well, the Empire would definitely wipe the floor with the Grimm. The Grimm are just big monsters, and yeah, they got people who, like, control them and whatnot, and big villains on the other side, but, like, the Empire has, like, Star Destroyers, and an army, and Vader, and the Emperor. And to which you could make that argument that, yes, that is the thing, but I decided, I was thinking a little more into it, and I was like, wait a minute, it's a lot more complicated than that. So let's say there was an open war between Salem and Palpatine. Like, what would it be like if the Galactic Empire went to war with Salem and the Grimm? Now, the first thing you have to look at is the Grimm themselves. These big monsters, and big, most of them are just gigantic. Look at Monstrum. Not too long ago, or the giant whale Grimm. Some of these things are just titanic, and some have different abilities, like the what was it? The apathy. Yeah, there's the apathy. Some of them just feed off your depression and whatnot, and some of them are just these titans that can just wipe out whole armies. And now you're thinking, oh well, stormtroopers have got this. They're animals. They'd be a turkey shoot. Not really, because here's the thing. There has to be specially trained people to fight the Grimm. That's the thing, is that the, huntsmen have to be specially trained to take down Grimm. Basic armies don't do much against the Grimm. And yeah, it's it's a the Empire has trained soldiers, but your basic stormtrooper doesn't have that much of training. Like, yeah, you've got your advanced, like, death troopers or shore troopers, but really, outside of your basic foot soldier, your basic stormtrooper isn't going to do much with that blaster. They aren't going to be able to do much. Now, they could gun down a few Grimm, but the thing is that Grimm are built very tough. So, if you put your basic squad of stormtroopers against, like a I'm forgetting the name of the Scorpion Grimm, but if you put them like a squad of them against the Scorpion, I'm going to bet my money on the Scorpion. That goes same for, like, having, TIE fighters and other, airborne vehicles, airborne weaponry out there fighting, like, Nevermore Grimm or something. Yeah, you could take them down, but like I said, Grimm are extremely terrible. This isn't like shooting a ship or an X-Wing. These things are sometimes encased in armor that would probably take, like, several blasts to take it down. And your basic stormtrooper does not have the proper training to take down, like, these massive monsters. Hell, they have trouble fighting Ewoks, for Christ's sake. Your stormtroopers are going to get wiped the only thing that really the Empire has that the Grimm doesn't are bigger numbers. That's the thing, is that the Empire does mass hiring. So the Grimm are, while they are vast, they're not as vast as the Empire. Let's also not forget that the Empire itself has a little thing called the Star Destroyers on their side. Grimm are strong and they can get up pretty high, but they don't get space high. So so you could just call in an airstrike and just proceed to blast them. Other things the Empire has that can compete against the Grimm, you've got the AT-ATs, AT-STs, you've got other forms of vehicles, TIE fighters, squadrons, which are a little more better trained than your basic infantry. So I'm not saying that the Empire would get completely floored by the Grimm. They do have some tricks up their sleeve, and let's not forget, they have these things called Inquisitors on their side. Also, I'm not going to cheap out and go, oh, well, they have the Death Star, they can win. That thing got blown up, so we're not going to use that in this hypothetical war. So, the Grimm are big savage monsters, but they also have, like, if we're including Salem, she's got Cinder, Tyrion, Hazel. Let's, for sake of argument, this is before that abomination of Season 8. Hazel, Watts, yeah, she's got a good number of very intelligent people. Watts could easily, like, break into the Empire's mainframe. Hazel could tear his way through several stormtroopers. Same with Cinder and Tyrion. And yeah, you have, of course, the Inquisitors, who are powerful and fallen Jedi in and of themselves, but the Inquisitors are more equipped to fight Jedi, and not these big guys, these almost like psychopathic beings that just come at him again and again and again. Vader and the Emperor would probably be the biggest threat to Salem and Salem, whereas Vader is very powerful, but Vader's only one dude. Salem has a whole like gang around her. Even Salem, I think, could put up a really good fight against Palpatine, because Salem is immortal, and Palpatine, he's got clones. He's got clones, and he can't die. So, whereas so far we have yet to see Salem die in any form. But like I said, the major thing is that the Galactic Empire is that. It is a empire. It is a vast army of stars, made up of several star systems. Whereas the Grimm, on the other hand, are these wild, uncontrollable monsters that the only real control who have any over them is really Salem. So if you can disrupt Salem, and then you disrupt the Grimm. So that's the big thing right there. So, but I do see, like, ground battle would be, ground-based fighting against the Grimm within the Galactic Empire would be difficult. It would be extremely difficult. Now, would be some Grimm that would be incredibly large enough to take down, like, AT-ATs or AT-STs, but the Empire knows how to pump out, just really shell out vehicle after vehicle, so it would be a difficult fought war, but I honestly think that at the end of the Grimm would definitely be a threat to the Empire, but at the end of the day, I think I think the Imperial flags would be flying over Remnant, if you know what I mean. So you guys tell me in the comments below, who do you think would, what do you think of this? Like, what do you think it would be like if the Grimm and the Galactic Empire went to war? Who do you think would come out on top? Do you think the Empire could hold their own against the Grimm? Or do you think the Grimm would just overwhelm the Imperial forces and force them? I don't think they could defeat the Empire because they can't chase them out into space. But, like, if this was a hypothetical war, could the Grimm chase them out of Remnant and keep the Empire from going, let's go back? It would be like, no, we're not going to even bother to fight back. We're not even going to bother trying to take over that planet. And like I said, this is good. Please put in the comments like your thoughts on the video, and no requests, please. Like I said, this is gonna if that happens, like if I just get one request after another, I'm just gonna be like, I don't want to do this anymore, because clearly people don't want to talk about the ideas at hand. So anyway, once again, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse, and I will see you next time in the Multiverse.